Hello and welcome as we continue our journey toward Easter through these little Bible studies. Today I would like to take an opportunity to share with you the psalm for this Easter Sunday and then share some of the reflections that I've gathered for today. We'll be using Psalm number 118, some selected verses 1 and 2, and then jumping ahead to verse 14 through 24. Give thanks to the Lord, for the Lord is good. God's mercy endures forever. Let Israel now declare, God's mercy endures forever. The Lord is my strength and my song, and has become my salvation. Shouts of rejoicing and salvation echo in the tents of the righteous. The right hand of the Lord acts valiantly. The right hand of the Lord is exalted. The right hand of the Lord acts valiantly. I shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. The Lord indeed punished me sorely, but did not hand me over to death. Open for me the gates of righteousness. I will enter them and give thanks to the Lord. This is the gate of the Lord. Here the righteous may enter. I give thanks to you, for you have answered me, and you have become my salvation. The stone that the builders rejected has become the chief cornerstone. By the Lord this has been done. It is marvelous in our eyes. This is the day that the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. Here ends the reading. Thanks be to God. The early Christian church linked the words of this psalm to Holy Week, what we call Holy Week, and the persecution and crucifixion of Jesus. And our current Christian church linked the words of today's psalm to our own victory over death through Jesus' resurrection. These are words often read at the graveside or at the committal of ashes to help us remember that our deceased loved one has not been abandoned by God, and neither are we. The Christian church throughout the generations continues to gather and give thanks for the empty tomb. We do this every Sunday, actually, or as the early church called it, every Resurrection Day. Easter has traditionally become the day that we talk more directly about the empty tomb, although every Sunday is a celebration of the resurrection and a reminder that Jesus' resurrection affects all believers. A variety of psalms starting at 113 and going through 118 were central to the Passover liturgy. Jewish tradition holds that the Israelites recited the words of the Psalms when they came out of Egypt. Psalm 118 concludes this section of the Psalms by giving thanks for God's deliverance. So the language of the psalm fits with Passover. And early Christians saw the language and the themes of the Psalms that also spoke most directly about God's validation of Jesus. Psalm 118 verses 1 through 2 and 14 to 24, today's specific reading, contains elements of several psalm genres, each of which is appropriate for Easter. The opening of the psalm has language common to prayers of thanksgiving. Verse 21 again expresses, in a first-person kind of style, the thanks that the Israelites gave when they brought their thanksgiving offerings to the temple. And the opening verses set the tone for this whole lectionary reading for the day and for the Easter celebration by offering thanks to God for God's steadfast love. Verse 14 echoes the expressions of confidence in God that appear as individualistic prayers for help. And this expression of confidence assumes there was some kind of trouble in the past. Not specified, yet assumes something happened, and God has delivered the one who speaks. These Psalms were especially important for understanding Jesus' suffering and death. The early Christian church read these psalms/prayers in connection with the suffering of Jesus and his deliverance from the grave. The invitation to praise in verse 24 is sort of like a call to worship that we use when we sing hymns of praise, especially on Easter Sunday. Originally, the reference to the day likely referred to the climactic day of a festival in the Jewish temple. Verse 27 speaks of a procession to the altar of the temple with worshipers carrying festal branches. This reflects the practice during the Feast of Booths, in which participants cut branches as part of the celebration, part of the harvest. Christians came to understand all these festive images as suggestive of Jesus' life, and the day became the day of the resurrection, the Lord's Day. This psalm does not specifically identify the individual speaker in the psalm, and that really leaves the psalm open to interpretation. It also leaves it open to apply its words to new situations. The early church naturally connected the psalm and its prayers and its claims of faith to the resurrected Jesus. While one could argue that the psalm was not originally written specifically about Jesus, it is a recognition that the way God provided salvation to the speaker in the psalm fits perfectly with the circumstances of the risen Jesus. Thank you for joining me again today as we continue this journey toward Easter, April the 4th, 2021, through these mini Bible studies. I hope you're having a great day. Take care. God bless.